So maybe
don't drink
so they
it.
look at that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny because my doctor said to lay back on the coffee, right? Lay off the coffee.
Fake news.
So but I'm we're not promoting it necessarily, but we do, I guess, on Coffee Club. I don't know.
Listen, I'm a firm believer in magic. You have beans, you brew it with some hot water, and then you have a magical, wonderful potion.
Well, did we not Jack and the Beanstalk? Did we not learn those beans? How magical they grew.
It's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to do black coffee. I do not anymore. I do what somebody calls the food coffee.
Oh, see, I just do a little half and half of mine.
Do we have that? I don't know.
No, but that's okay. I'll drink it black. I like it black.
Okay. All right.
She drinks enough.
I drink it black.
All right.
Well, this is actually where I get in trouble down here in southern Indiana. Is being from the north. I like unsweet iced tea, and that's usually what I switch to in the afternoon.
That's dirty water.
Yeah. Our team down here always gives me grief for it.
Yes, that's dirty water.
Oh wow, we got. Oh goodness gracious me!
Coming in strong.
That is fantastic. That is wonderful.
Right.
That is wonderful.
Well, we love our coffee club assistant.
We do, and taking care of everybody. We love that for sure. But anyway, all right, we are it's funny to hear how much coffee and what everybody does to drink coffee, and I guess right here on Coffee Club, of course, we are all about.
We're all about coffee. I used to be a barista, so I tend to be a little bit knowledgeable about the coffee process, and also when I went to Costa Rica, that was my job in Costa Rica. I just tasted all the coffee and rated it all.
But okay, by being that, did you ever have to cut anybody off? Like, is there a coffee cut off?
Why would you cut people off? That's how you make your money.
Okay, there you go.
You're like, come drink more.
Okay. Didn't know.
I've had all of the coffee.
You've had all of the coffee.
It's not a bar. You're cut off. You've had too much.
I didn't know.
I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to get jittery?
That's right.
You're going to get jittery with it.
Look at Cody.
Well,
Cody gets a lot done.
I do. I get a lot done. I drive all over the state of Indiana. I work out of Fort Wayne, but I live in Huntington, so I started my morning in Huntington, Indiana, and drove about 45 minutes to Fort Wayne, then drove about 4 hours down here. So yeah, that's why you got to have lots of coffee on the Coffee Club. And good music, yes. I always listen to Willie Nelson's On the Road again when I hit the road.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love that. I love Willie Nelson. Love her. All right, real quick.
On Coffee and Freedom.
That is exactly right.
All right, we're going to talk all about that. Let's find out what today is. Today is the 7th day of March, marching right along.
Please put that as a slogan. I run on Coffee and Freedom.
I love that. Yeah, that's how to be a T-shirt right there.
I'm going to make you one, Cody.
We're going to make one.
Yeah, I'm
going to make it.
Today is National Be Heard Day. So how important is that?
Be heard. It's very important.
Make sure you get your microphone. I'm telling you, push your microphone a little closer to be heard.
Oh, yes. National Be Heard Day is why we need to protect the First Amendment and stand up against cancel culture.
Look at that. Amen. Cody is like,
amen.
Right.
Look at those segments.
I need, whatever he's drinking, I need some of that.
That's right.
Over there. Yeah, that's right.
It's like Coffee and Freedom.
It's Coffee and
Coffee
Freedom,
and Freedom.
I know.
It's the sound of Coffee and Freedom.
All right.
America.
That's right. Marca. Okay, National Crown Roast of Pork Day.
Wait, hold on.
Crown Roast of Pork Day. It shows like a big pork.
Oh, is that the one with like the bones?
Yep, that's
that looks
exactly
all
what it is.
beautiful. Who's gonna really cook and eat that?
I wouldn't know how to actually.
No,
I wouldn't even know how to. I mean, like, how do you dive in on that?
I think you cut it and then you eat it like ribs.
I guess so. Okay.
I saw that one time on the Married with Children episode.
Oh,
I'm sure it was a dream Al had, but
everything you learn.
We know Peggy.
National Sportsmanship Day. How important is that?
Very.
You know how I feel about sportsmanship. I don't care how you win if you don't know how to lose with grace.
Right. All right. Peace Corps Day. Ooh, Plant Power Day. Right now, it's plants are on sale, and what was it?
I'm not allowed to have plants because I killed it.
I know. I need the minimal plant.
This is why I need the Farmer's Almanac. I need Susan back.
Let's go back. Let's go over to Walmart and I'll show you the plants.
No, I don't think you understand. I'm not allowed to buy them. That is a hard stop in my house.
Suggestion, and I say this as a bachelor who lives by himself. I bought some artificial plants and then just planted them in my yard.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
this is hilarious.
They lasted almost all summer. They did not.
Almost all summer, not all summer quite.
Yeah, they lasted almost all summer, and they look terrible now because I left them planted through the winter.
Went through the winter in the snow.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
they're all broken up.
So now the
they're
neighbors know. See, at
Oh,
first
yeah.
they were like, "Oh wow, he's really good."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, Justin used to work at my husband, he used to work at a greenhouse. So he is like all in the plants. And I think it's more of a, you embarrassed me at your black thumb, so you're not allowed to have plants because I don't have the time to
Well,
make
see,
them.
I'm big on like the
He was
toxins
suggested to be able
in
to
the
have
room,
them.
so I like the plants to clean my toxins.
Yes.
They really do. No, I have plants. I have a lot, but I like them cleaning the
My
toxins.
bamboo is still alive.
Yeah,
it's going
which-
on a year.
See, I knew bamboo would be tough for you.
Yeah. And then I have a snake plant that is also still alive.
So,
And my baby rose bush is still
Well,
alive.
then you're good.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not allowed to buy ferns anymore.
oh, ferns they're a different creature.
Ferns and
Obviously, ferns are not full sun.
hanging
Just,
baskets.
just as a note, ferns are not full sun. You will burn them.
Oh,
I learned that.
Autumn Scott Hall.
You will burn them.
Okay, Plant Power Day. This is also Unique Names Day.
Oh, unique names.
I like unique names. So.
One time I had a little girl named Padjame.
Oh, I love that.
Padjame, you know how it was spelled? It was spelled like pajamas. But it was Padjame.
Padjame. I love that.
It's a beautiful
Love that.
name.
Love that. All right, well, so get out and enjoy. Those are some holidays to celebrate, and we're celebrating because we have Cody in the house today, all the way from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and from
Huntington County.
Huntington County. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So glad to have you with us.
It's all the same place.
Thanks for coming down this morning, and let's jump in and let's find out a little about yourself and what you do with Americans for Prosperity.
Yeah, so I am the Director of Grassroots Operations. I supervise our state ops program here in the state. And what we do is Angel down here in southern Indiana, and then our engagement directors around the state of Indiana engage in grassroots tactics to drive good policy change and help elect good candidates. So right now what I'm working on is I'm traveling the state to help build our operations for the 2024 election, because we're going to be engaged in the Republican primary to elect good conservative candidates up and down the ballot. So it's going to be at the presidential level, the Senate level, the congressional level, the gubernatorial candidate, and then our state chapters. One of our biggest projects will be to remake the General Assembly.
Okay. So some might say, okay, I'm just going to, say what some might say. Is it a little early to start?
Yeah, it's definitely a little early, but we got to start building the grassroots infrastructure now. So one of the things that sets our organization apart is we build long-term grassroots infrastructures in communities all over the state. So we have volunteers, door knockers, activists ready to go when we have a candidate identified. And, Indiana is going to play a key role in the future of our country in 2024 because we already have 2 open congressional seats. We have an open Senate seat, an open gubernatorial seat. We're going to have a lot of open state Senate and state rep seats. And then also, we're one of the last states to vote in the presidential primary. And if it comes down to a neck-and-neck race, Indiana might be the deciding factor, because in 2016, Indiana is really will Trump secure the Republican nomination.
So we're a very important state.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and it's nice to hear that and remind everyone, to get out and vote and how important it is, and it's something that's a freedom that we should really, do and make sure that our neighbors are doing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know how I feel about voting. If you don't vote,
Yes.
you don't get to complain.
Right. And I also think it's important to get involved. So voting is very important, but also getting your friends and your neighbors to vote and talking to them about good candidates and good policy. If you can vote, great, but if you can get 10 people to vote with you, you're 10xing your capability and your ability to affect change.
Do you feel like that now more than ever, more people are trying to find out more information and get involved because of some of the things like we just talked about? Like, let's talk about, like, if you look over, you see the gas prices.
Yeah.
And so, these are affecting, let's go, eggs,
Right.
groceries. Do you see where do you find that people are asking more questions and trying to get a little more understanding?
Yeah, you mentioned gas prices. Last summer, we, around the entire country, and we did a lot of these here in Indiana, we rolled the price of gas to $2.38, which was the price of gas the day Joe Biden took office, and really got out there, and we were talking to voters about what energy policies are coming out of D.C., that are causing our gas prices to go up. And there's a lot of different factors in there. And we see that really resonating with voters. And I think it's important then to take some of maybe that anger and passion that you hear about this bad policy coming out of D.C., and then using that to drive change. So contacting your legislator, making phone calls to your neighbors, getting out there and hitting doors, showing up to events. All that stuff is actually a real tangible way to take some of the frustration and drive some positive change out of it, as opposed to some of the Facebook trolling that I will admit I do find enjoyable from time to time. But it is
humorous. From
yes,
time to time.
yes, humorous is probably the better answer. But it largely doesn't really do much good for us, or for the country.
Well, and not only that, but it wears me out sometimes because I sit there and I think, how dumb are these people? Like, go do something positive. Quit being a keyboard warrior and go do something productive with your time for real.
Right.
Let's make real change.
Yeah.
Or at least if you're going to argue on, at least make sure you know what you're talking about.
That takes all.
Yeah. Well, I think too that a lot of times when you, let's say, I'm just going to use the gas station to fill up. A lot of times your anger or whatever, your frustration or whatever goes out, and you actually take it out on the person that's checking you out, or the person the attendant at the gas station.
Right.
And that's not the person to do.
Yeah.
They're only trying to work and earn a living. So I think, and taking that energy and putting it to, but something that we feel like a lot of times, and Cody, I know AFP is very much, believing this, is to be accountable and to be a part and to realize this is something that we all should be knowing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, we don't always do that. We don't do our homework on that.
We may hold the legislators and the policymakers accountable, but yes, the constituents are accountable as well.
Yeah. And it's difficult at the state level because we've got a lot of really great local journalists, but there does seem to be sort of a void of information coming out of the State House sometime. One of the things that I think is, one of the most crony bills in the State House this year, it's SB 451. This legislation would give a company in Terre Haute the unilateral authority to dump carbon dioxide waste underneath the properties of homeowners and farmers. And then what's kind of crazy about it is then that company is not responsible for any financial compensation to these property owners. And if it damages their property, they're not liable to any judicial proceedings that would seek compensation to the property owners. And this bill ended up just barely narrowly passing out of the state Senate, and now it's in the State House, and we're going to be engaging across the state to try and kill that.
And my thought on that is, who's making these laws?
The people that are getting elected.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's the thing.
It's
That's
very
just a
sad.
common sense thing that you take the office and I don't know, maybe it's a doctor oath of no harm, but you would think that as a politician you would have I don't want to cause harm.
Yeah,
exactly what you're doing is causing harm to these people.
Yeah, we call them breaking down barriers or barriers put in place by government, but it's the same thing. It's the government should first and foremost have a do no harm policy. I really like that. I think I've said that a few times myself.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be.
It should be. Do no harm.
Well, and you think, when you actually go to the poll and you do put someone in, you would think that they would be doing the best for you or for them. I mean, their families are living too. I mean, it's their community too, and to find that almost sounds like,
it sounds sinister. That's what it sounds like.
It almost sounds so far-fetched, Cody, that I'm just like, what? Who? I mean, it's hard to wrap your head around that somebody would get behind this and support it.
Yeah, I think I definitely don't want to play devil's advocate. I think this is really bad legislation. The argument is around some of the the environmental policies that are also coming out of DC. The Green New Deal, subsidies that these environmental companies get, like the company in West Lafayette, or excuse me, West Terre Haute. And so that's I guess that's the argument, but we are aligned with a lot of environmental organizations on this issue because they recognize that there's a potential for harm, and also just like the importance of protecting property rights, which I think is like the most important issue out of all of this. Like,
absolutely,
there's definitely a crony aspect of this, but
yeah, I'm telling you, as a property owner, I'd be mad.
Yeah, I mean,
well, definitely.
I'm going to be at the State House,
right,
picketing.
Yeah.
They still take it?
I'm just going to hold. You go ahead. You go right ahead. You go
I
on.
may be the sole picketer, but I'm going to be their picketing.
I do love a good picket.
Yeah. So that'd be up in Indianapolis, which you could go and get a sugar cream pie at Weeks.
No, I'm not mad.
Yeah, I know.
While you're up there, you should attend one of our legislative breakfasts.
I'll be up there this weekend, actually, for state. So when
There
are
you
these legislative breakfasts?
Oh, but you say you are going?
I'm going to be up there this weekend for state wrestling, but when are these breakfasts? Because I do love to eat.
Put a sign in every
Every other
wrestler's hand.
Tuesday. They're during the week.
During the week?
Sorry.
Well, Cody, I think that that's something that definitely needs to be brought to attention, and definitely just like everyone in the room here is thinking, what? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm stunned, actually.
well, yeah, because it's just like I can't. It's almost like you can't even believe that this would even be, would have passed or even doable. I mean, who does this?
Who's doing that?
Yeah, who's doing this?
Well,
yeah.
again, this is why you have to be educated on what's going on in your state.
And that's I think something that's very interesting is a lot of people, that's what happens. And then it happens and it's after the fact and it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, so our listeners right now that are listening, and they're like probably pulled over trying to take this in and wrap their head around this. Okay, if they're in the car, so what could they do right now to make a difference?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing would be to call your state rep and your state senator, so you can go to the inga.gov. Is that correct? I'm almost positive that's correct. That's the website. If you Google the Indiana General Assembly, it'll pop right up, and you can find who your state rep and your state senator is and give them a call. Also, if you want to follow our Twitter and Facebook page, Twitter it's AFPIN, and then on Facebook it's just Americans for Prosperity Indiana. We're going to be posting some IVOL action links, which will also be another way that we'll be contacting these state legislators, sending direct emails to them, and then hopefully soon get some phone calls and some other grassroots efforts going on these important issues.
Right. Well, I think it's something that definitely needs to make sure that it stays watched, and it's nice for AFP and for you, Cody, to bring that to our attention and bring that to our forefront, And do you feel like a lot of times people maybe on a local level, it's hard to get involved because sometimes it's like you're not 100% sure, and it's a little confusing, some of this. And
yeah, and that's a lot of what our mission here at Americans for Prosperity is we're a nonprofit organization, but if you want to think about it like our customer base is everyday, ordinary citizens who want to engage their state, local, and federal governments in positive ways. So that's why we're building communities in every county, all 92 counties across the state of Indiana, to give those voters and those Hoosiers the opportunity to engage in a way that really can drive meaningful change. And again, I think a lot of people want to be involved, and we just got to give them the tools and the resources to do so.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is good that we're talking about it and to get people involved. Mm-hmm. And we, I know Autumn and I talk a lot about, trying to make sure that everybody stays accountable. You should know like what's going on in politics. You should know what's going on financial. You should know what's going on in medical. Everything, every aspect of your life. And this is just one more area that you should be involved in and know about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's something that we've talked about. It's complex. Like we don't expect you to read a bill and be like, oh yeah.
No.
Know all the ins and outs
right,
of it.
Right.
Well, but if you do follow Americans for Prosperity Indiana, then you will see they've been posting about this bill for the last couple hours.
Yeah.
18 hours ago, Cody was on there with a reel.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah.
on there. I was on there basically saying the same thing I'm saying now.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So you guys are doing your due diligence in getting it out there. And I think that's important to notate. The information is out there, but I think as a society and as a people, we can't be sticking our head in the ground thinking, "Oh, it's okay. It's not gonna affect me." Yes, it is. So be involved.
Well, it affects your neighbors. In our rural community here, this is like, I don't think that's not nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's not nice.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
Mean.
Right.
We don't like that.
Right.
Bully, you're bullying me.
Right?
Right.
And we take it personal. We're all, we're like a community family, and I don't want that to happen. Well, it's very interesting, Cody. So thank you for bringing that. Is there any other thing that we need to kind of stay on, or what else is going on?
Well, also don't get in the sense that like, oh, AFP's got it under control, because no, AFP needs your help too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Don't get in the mindset too, like, oh, AFP's against it, they'll take care of it. No, we need you though to help.
Well, because your strength is in the people that back you.
Correct.
And I mean, if you don't have an army behind you pushing you on, then you're two people instead of a state.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it's just like, I mean, I always go back to Gladiator, when everybody put their backs and worked together. I mean, that's something that, you'll get more strength. You'll be stronger in that. And I think that that's something, everybody working together and well, no, I mean,
True.
right? Do you not
My
remember?
child's name is Maximus.
I knew that.
I found that out after we had him, like 2 years later.
I don't let her.
It's not why.
It's not why, but it's a good point, and I concur.
No, I do. No, I think.
agree.
Well, and you do that.
There's
and
safety in numbers,
Absolutely.
and there's power in numbers.
Absolutely. And so let's go back and let's talk, Cody. Let's talk about volunteering and how.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Okay, let's say there's someone sitting out there going, and they want to be involved.
Yeah. So if you want to contact us again through Americans for Prosperity India on Facebook and Twitter, that's great. My phone number, I'll give it out. I'll give it out. I'll give out my work.
You did mention he's a bachelor earlier.
Oh no! Please, first off, this is my work line, so please keep it professional. Actually, no, I'm gonna give out my email instead. I think actually you guys. Oh my God, you can get that on the phone too. But no, okay. My email is really simple. It's cwhite, like the color, at afphq.org. AFPHQ, so Americans for Prosperity headquarters.org. But
what's funny though is, like, I'm thinking, there's a new show coming out. It's something about where a farmer picks a wife now. Have you seen that?
I've seen commercials.
Yeah. So Cody, this might be the way. Radio picks the wife. I don't know.
Radio picks the wife.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I don't know that you'd be traveling.
Run, wives are trouble.
I don't know that you'd be making all of your travels. Yeah.
Also, if you really want my work number, it's very easy to find. It's on quite a few emails and graphics that I've got out. So.
Business purposes only.
There we go.
Right. We're gonna keep it somewhat professional on the radio there today.
All right. So let's go back. So other ways, of course, they can contact Angel locally, or
Yes.
You can also look on my personal Facebook, Angel Purlee. You can add me on there.
And since we're
That's so much smarter than what I did. Just giving out the social medias. I don't know why I didn't think of that. That's what everyone does in a normal show. Oh gosh.
it was the coffee, Cody.
That's right. It got me jittery.
Coffee Club. Coffee Club. Welcome. We do that. We have a tendency to do that.
So so this bill is actually statewide, correct? It is
Yeah,
not just for that county.
Yeah, well, so the company in Vigo County, like, it'll affect mostly Vigo County because it'll give this one company the ability to do it.
But it lays a framework for other companies and other counties to do the same. Then, correct? Possibly.
I'll have to go back and check. I'm pretty sure this bill actually is a specific carve-out just for this one company, so another company would also have to go through the General Assembly to do this.
Right, but if the General Assembly
Exactly.
passes it for one
Sure.
county, what's not to say they won't pass it for another?
100%.
So,
Yeah.
yes, even though this
Yeah.
is maybe for that particular county, it is something that eventually could affect us in the future if another company chooses to do a similar
Snowball
situation.
effect.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, this is something that should affect, we should at least take a notice of, even if it may not be in our particular county right now.
Yep.
It's something that could affect us and would serve us well to pay attention.
Right. Well, don't be starting nothing, there won't be nothing. You know what I
Right.
mean? So just if it.
Well, and not only that, but it does affect our state, and even though it may not be our farms, it is, like, there's that brotherhood there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I love the, and I'm pretty sure this is solidly IE country down here, but at the Purdue basketball game a couple weeks ago, I think they were playing Iowa. One of the Purdue players had "We Have Better Corn" sign.
That's hilarious.
Or not players, but students in the section in the student section.
Oh my God.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So
We do
that's.
carry Purdue with WSLM too.
Oh, let's go.
Absolutely. Well, and then actually in our county, we actually have more Purdue alumni.
Do we?
Yeah, so we
Nice.
yeah, and
I'll go to rural southern Indiana.
Yeah,
That
so
makes sense.
yeah, so we hammer down and bowler up. So
Love it.
don't worry about that. And we do also carry IU, so we carry both.
I
So
love it.
so going back on this, so this is very important, and definitely stay. Let's stay on this. So when exactly will this be? You think being presented? I guess.
So it got so bill flip was last Wednesday, so it's now in the House. It hasn't been, the committee hearing hasn't been scheduled yet as of at least yesterday. I haven't checked today. That'll be all over our social media as soon as that's set, and the ability to go. I have a feeling it'll be over the next 2-3 weeks, sometime in that time frame.
Okay, so it's
fairly recent. Yeah.
soon, huh?
Yeah, well, in the General Assembly, they're done in April, so
Yeah, we talk about that. We're part-time session here in Indiana.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you bringing that. So let's talk about getting involved in. Okay, so we have that, and definitely, I think everyone and all of us should stay on top of that and make sure and make some calls or make some whatever strides we can do to get that squashed. But let's go back to some of the, being a volunteer and explain a little bit about volunteering for American for Prosperity. I know Angel talks about it, but it's always nice to hear your perspective on it. So.
Yeah, I think the key that we're offering our volunteers is we have an incredible data system and phone calling system and door system and tools to engage in emails and peer-to-peer contacting you with your state legislators, and all of that is kind of a way to we're trying to make volunteering and engaging your government user friendly and fun and exciting for the volunteer. So we have phone banks all over the state of Indiana. Texting, we don't do texting anymore. We used to do texting, and then doors, and we always have food, and we play games. I know we have in Fort Wayne we have a cohort of activists who are late middle school into high school age, and they'll watch basketball and play video games and make phone calls in our office, and a lot of them are siblings and cousins, and they just it's really cool. A couple weeks ago, we were having a phone bank about education freedom and trying to expand school choice in the state of Indiana. And you had basically a bunch of high school students making phone calls to provide more education freedom for their peers. And it's just really cool opportunity for young people to get involved, and really people of any age to again drive that positive change.
Right. So on
and just a side note for those in southern Indiana,
Yeah.
we have a ping pong table.
Oh, that's right.
So you need some you got some mad ping pong skills.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them.
I do not have bad ping pong skills.
Well, you can practice.
Yeah.
Well, I think with this and being a volunteer and getting involved, I think it's a great thing too. And as far as like door knocking or phone calls, I think sometimes kind of explain how is that received. And I think and I'll tell you what I think, and then please explain what you feel. That sometimes it's nice because people are not necessarily really informed on things, and then when they hear that, or just to talk about it, or to have it explained a little bit, it's a little more clarity.
Yeah, I think it's phones. This is true too, but on door, I'll speak a little bit about doors. It really, what is the key to a good ground game, what we call it, or a good door effort, is not necessarily going out and hitting a million doors in a Senate race, but it's the amount of doors you can hit and have quality conversation. So one of the things that the Democrats learned with the Obama race in 2008 was, and then we saw this actually in a race we did up in Fort Wayne, and this holds true I think throughout, is if you can get the same people to go and hit their neighborhoods and their communities and get to know and build the relationships with the voters, that's the most effective way to do campaigning and drive change. It's just that peer-to-peer relationship that you build on the doors. If we just focus on what we did in Northeast Indiana in Senate District 14, we had volunteers who hit the same neighborhoods 4 or 5 times in support of one of our policy champions, Tyler Johnson. and he was outspent, I think, 3-1. I think he spent maybe $160,000. His opponent spent, I believe, $400,000. He had Vice President Mike Pence come in and endorse him, and our policy champion, because I think in a big part because of our ground game, and he did a lot of really great work too. He's just a stellar candidate. Ended up winning that race by, I believe, 14 points, despite being massively outspent and having all these big name endorsements come out against him.
Yeah. Well, I think I think that that's something that a lot of people appreciate, and I think that they appreciate the passion that they see. Somebody caring and realizing, because you go back to that. Well, I'm not going to vote because it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that 14 people, difference. Like you just said, right?
Yeah.
In that race.
14%. 14%.
Oh, 14%. I'm so
Yes.
sorry. But I do know some of our local races have been just 14 or been very close, and that makes a huge
numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Dave Hall, another one of our policy champions from the Bloomington on down into the Brown County area. He won his race by, I believe the final total was 41 votes out of thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
Well, and it does. Every vote does count,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that is very important
Yeah.
that your vote does count. And even as we have mentioned earlier, no, you may not understand every candidate and every policy, but you need to be educated enough to go and vote. You can't just throw your hands up and say, "Oh, no, sorry."
Yeah.
And that's true. This last year we were involved in 2 recounts in which the election was decided by less than 0.2%.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think too, on the flip side of that, though, it does go to show that people are getting more involved and are getting serious and becoming more vocal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think with some of the things that we're seeing, we're realizing. I mean, it's hitting the pocketbook. It's hitting families. This is, I mean, this is like
Inflation.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and since we're on the topic of voting, voting in the general election is super important. But one of the things we have got to do is engage in primaries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Primaries determine our effectively our only 2 options in November, and they have pretty staggering low turnout. I don't want to give the exact numbers, but it was under 1/5 of the voting population voted in the 2016 primaries between the Republicans and Democrats, and I'm using that year because that's both parties had big primaries that year. So if we want good principled conservative candidates, we have got to get out in May of 2024 and vote.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're right. I think that is very important. A lot of people, and I've heard this, people are like, "Oh, I just wait for the big ones." Well, if you don't take care of the little stuff, then the big stuff is already lost. So get out there and take care of the little stuff first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's true in every aspect of life. Take care of the little stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I think that right there, your local level, affects you.
Yes, your local level sometimes I think affects you more than your national level.
And your primary is going to put the person in, so that's extremely important. I mean, you're going to put the person that you want in.
Yeah,
because you got to take that step before you can take the other step.
And the Republican Party in 2022 picked some really, really bad candidates on the federal level, and because of that, the Democrat Party was able to run way far to the left, and they have outflanked the entire, I believe, the American people. And if all we have to, I think if conservatives, if people who believe in small government, free market issues, want to see these ideas implemented at the state and federal level, then we can engage in primaries and elect quality candidates, people who can actually win. 2024 is going to be a good year for our movement and a good year for the policies we support. Our nation, yeah, good year for our nation. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, you got to get involved and stay involved, and also we talk about this. With Angel's talked about this before. Like a bill might have like something, but then like have an attachment that might be a little bit off, right?
Oh yeah, that happens.
That's something you got to pay attention to too.
Yeah. It's an even year, so it's a budget year in the state of Indiana. The budget's got a lot of really great stuff attached to it, like an expansion of education savings accounts, providing more education freedom for Hoosier students, and then it's got it's crony add-ons and all that other stuff we
I
don't
think
like.
that's the part that is annoying. It's like if we could just pass bills that deal with the
Yeah.
situation instead of adding all this extra crap in there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember. There was something I heard, like I can't remember,
Mhm.
but they were like, and it was like added to this. You know what I
yes.
mean? It
It's
was
like
if
stop
you-
adding things.
Yeah, and it
Mhm.
was something that was ridiculously added. That
Well-
if the actual first the substance was pretty good, but
Yeah.
then had
As I
some
said, a
little.
bill
Well-
can go in one way and come out a completely
Yeah, well, and
It's not like a pizza.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Well, and I actually, what was it? That one that they were trying to pass, and the comment was like, "Well, we have to pass it to see what's in it." It's like,
Oh my god.
smack you in
That
the
was-
face.
You don't
That was-
remember
that was
Oh,
Obamacare.
wasn't that like
That was the
Obamacare?
that was the
Well, I
Exactly.
wasn't going to call it out on the radio. And,
Yeah, that
but
was-
yeah, we gotta
yeah,
pass it to see
little
what's in it.
history
I'm gonna
knowledge.
Smack you in the
Cody's
face.
from Fort Wayne. We'll
yeah.
take that.
Oh yeah, we'll take it. That is a Nancy Pelosi quote
Yeah.
from 2009, the first
Okay,
time
yeah,
she was
you're right.
Speaker of the House. And we gotta
I
we
wasn't
gotta pass
calling
it.
anybody out. Cody doesn't care.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here to hold our elected officials
I love
accountable.
that.
Cody's email is.
Cody's email is cy@afphq.org.
Yeah.
Also, my Twitter is Cody Robert White. It's really
There
easy.
you
It would have
go.
been so much more simpler just to do that.
I do have a question though, as we're talking about these legislative bills that are passing, and I believe I know this answer, but I have been wrong before.
Mhm.
So, that is public record what our congressmen and our representatives vote?
Yes.
So where can you go to find that for people who want to see, hey, how did my person vote on this bill, or what did they think about this?
Yeah, so inga.gov is the Indiana General Assembly's website that you can go, and all the bills every year you got to search, but all the bills are there, and you can go and you can see the roll call votes. We'll key vote important bills on our Twitter page, so you can and we'll thank legislators who really stood strong on some tough votes, like this Senate Bill 451. There are a few folks who really held the ground, did not waver on this, and we'll give folks like that a shout out. There are also a lot of scorecards out there that you can go at the end of session and kind of evaluate how your state rep and state senators did. Americans, we would love. We're trying to get one. Hopefully,
We've done them in the past.
we have not done them in the last couple of years because we've decided to only score votes or bills that we're going to key vote. So hopefully, moving forward, we'll be able to put together a good quality scorecard for the voters.
But I
But-
think that is important
Yes.
to be
Oh,
able
definitely.
to say, this is who I voted for.
Yes.
Are they really, first of all, keeping with their
Mhm.
campaign promises, and second of all, are they voting in alignment with what I believe?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And it's
That's
also
one of the things we can help navigate.
Yeah.
and help with.
Yeah.
It's also an opportunity too that if they do and they do stay to their word, you can thank them. You know what I mean? Like, hey, thanks for getting behind that, or
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah,
and we,
absolutely.
And like I said, we
Yeah.
do that too. Like we don't. I mean, we make it known. If there's somebody that like it stuck out,
Mm.
it really stuck through there on the road. So.
Well, it's very interesting, and it's definitely, and maybe some would say, oh, it's a little bit early to talk about election. People, politics, but it is something that it's not too painful. It's important to be in the know and to stay up and to, at all times always keep and it's, like you said, take that energy maybe that you feel
Yeah.
not real happy about and focus it another direction.
And we're talking about the 2024 election really early this year. I think Angel can speak on this too. This is probably the earliest we've been out really planning and preparing for an upcoming election by almost a year. It feels like, and the reason why is where our organization really makes a difference is building that long-term grassroots infrastructure, having those key activists in counties and communities all across the state of Indiana who can also they help drive change and bring other people into the fold. And we need to start building that movement now because we want that statewide. We want to play again. Indiana's got the 2 congressional seats open, the Senate, the governor's, competitive presidential primary, and just all the General Assembly races. So we're trying to build that now and start talking to voters about what issues are going to matter in 2024. Like what do voters care about? Because we want to know too as an organization. We know that people are hurting when they go to the grocery store. They're hurting when they go to the gas pump. these are policies caused by D.C. and Washington politicians. So we know those are going to have to be key campaign elements, and we want to hear and get those stories now. But also, some really odd stuff going on at the federal level on like ESGs. So Senator Braun, he wrote a resolution that would and it passed out of the Senate, would ban the federal, or not ban, but ban using like ESG scores, so environmental structures or environmental standards. What's the word? That's the word I'm looking for. Environmental standards for investments. Yes, thank you. Sorry. No. So let me.
I know.
Now that I've collected my thoughts, basically how it works is they have environmental standards, and this is an ESG score, and how environmentally friendly the company is. The higher rated it is, and the more you should invest in it. But it has nothing to do with the value of the company or your ability to make money for your retirement. So because of that, we don't think that this should be something that investors are required or forced to take into account. So Mike Braun really stood strong on that legislation, and got it through, and hopefully it'll get signed by the president. Though I doubt it.
But we're hopeful.
Well, we're hopeful.
I just saw him, and
Not the president.
No, I didn't see the president. Saw Mike Braun, which is fantastic. Well, good. That's awesome. So
it sounds. But here's the thing. But you know what? You say it sounds early, and it is. But like campaigns have started. They're filing. So it's like, is it too early?
Yeah.
I mean, we started Christmas in October, so
that's true.
So
it's almost Christmas time again, isn't it?
I mean, true.
It'll be here. I mean, don't blink. I mean, it'll be here.
Yeah, time goes by really fast.
Well, and I think too. Okay, yes, maybe you're starting early, but at the same time, it's a lot to wrap your head around. So start small and build up.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's something I really think. Don't try to absorb it all January of 2024 when you're voting in 3 months.
Yep.
Like start now and get involved, and tip your feet in the water as you're starting to learn, because this is not something that you're going to be able to wrap your head around in just a month.
We don't build an army.
No.
Overnight.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, so again, due diligence and be responsible for your own vote and be knowledgeable about it. And there is help. If you don't know, then pick up the phone, call Angel or Cody. They'll help you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or email them.
Yes.
Facebook them.
Facebook.
Yeah.
At asghq.org.
Yeah. We are gonna. I'm gonna have to cut a little short this morning because we are going to. There's a commissioners meeting that a lot of people have asked for. Make sure that I cover. We've got some important information. So check my Facebook page. I'll be going live on that, and we'll talk about it on the radio coming up this week. Also, but I do want to kind of remind everybody today is Customer Appreciation Day at Papa John's, $6.99 for a pizza all day long. Anytime we can.
Cheap dinner.
Yeah, for pizza.
Right. Yeah.
Wonderful. Also, time change this coming weekend. Want to remind everybody about that.
Can we put that in the legislation to just get rid of this?
Oh man, that's
Look at Cody.
I don't know.
There's a club
Yeah.
that I'm sure you can join.
Yeah, I just out there. It's not something that jazzes me up, but I know it frustrates a lot of people.
Yeah.
Only a fool thinks they can cut an inch off of the foot of the blanket, put it at the top, and make it longer.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I remember you saying that before. You said that before.
It's actually an Indian saying, so I heard, according to Facebook.
Love that.
Oh.
Wait, one second. Cody, let's talk about, so if
Yes.
someone, because real quick, our final statements, because I really appreciate you coming in. Please
of
come
course.
back. Will you come back and visit us?
Yeah, of course.
Love that.
This place is sweet. I love the bobbleheads.
Thank you. Thank you.
They're all mine. Oh, wait.
She actually, she does sit over there. She does play with them sometimes and cleans them.
Because you are in my seat, Cody.
Yeah.
So next time you come back,
no.
you're going to have to
That's
That
okay.
was nice today.
That's
Okay.
okay. That's okay.
She's like, but now that we have become friends,
Yeah.
it's
Next
over.
next time you come, the honeymoon will be over.
No,
You're-
no,
No,
you're-
man,
you're-
no one told me.
Yeah. So Cody, let's go back over. So if someone, and which is important to drown or to drum up. Well, I'm trying to drum up volunteers and get people involved in AFP, and I know that's very important. So a volunteer can put as much time or that they can give. I mean, some people don't want to commit to this, but
Yeah.
you don't have to be that way, right?
Right, like I think volunteering and engaging looks like a lot of different things. For some people, it's going to look like writing or calling their legislator. For others, it's going to be phone banking. For some, it's going to be doors. Some folks might just, maybe you have 15, 20 contacts in your church or your neighborhood association, and just making sure they know about SB 451. So activism looks like a lot of different things. And really, like, our goal is to give folks the opportunity to engage their government.
Right. And volunteering can be as much or as little as
exactly.
Whatever
like,
you
right.
want.
It's
There's
right.
no commitment. You're not signing
Yeah,
a
you're
contract.
writing. You could be writing a letter. It could be knocking 1,000 doors.
Yeah.
I just asked, just come in even. I mean, like, if you don't
Yeah.
want to do work, like, come in and just let's meet you. Let's talk. Let's chat.
Yes.
Even just be educated about it.
Yeah.
Look, yeah.
That's what I love too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Share your education. That you're
Yes.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cody White, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, of course.
AFG, keep up the great work, and as you travel those beautiful, as you're wandering Indiana, be safe out there. That's the one I'd be playing, John
Yes.
Denver.
There you go.
Yeah. And Angel, thanks for coming in too. And Autumn Scott, always fun, and I'll see you on Thursday again too.
I'm a blast. Do you know who else is a blast?
Yep.
Coffee Club sponsors: Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gum, Fox Purlee Wealth Management, AFP, Americans for Prosperity in the House, and Fantastic Sam's.
All right. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Happy
Bye, guys.
Tuesday.
Barbecue is back in Salem, baby, and things are really smoking. New owner Bill and his family would like to invite you to come out to Po' Boys Barbecue at 506 South Main Street, Salem, Indiana, and try us out. I guarantee you'll love it. From pulled pork to ribs to brisket and even barbecue chicken, we have something for everyone. They have kids' meals, burgers, and even smoked wings. And if you've never heard of our haystack onion rings, you've got